You know what feels really good? Finishing more books in a month than you honestly thought you would get to or could. Well, that's what happened in November. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about my plans for December. Stay tuned, that's coming right up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Well, good day, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about my November reads. We're also going to talk a little bit about what I planned for December and how I'm doing on my Goodreads challenge. So if you want to know more about that, if you want to hear about it, stay tuned. And of course, as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You can join me on my Discord. I've also got a bookstagram. I'll link that below for you to join and check that out. So let's talk a little bit about, first off, what are my Goodreads challenge for this year? Well, I did set a goal for 75 books. As of the day of filming, I'm sitting at 62 of 75. Although I do expect by the time this video posts, there will probably be 64 or 75 books read for this year, which is still a decent amount of books, I feel, although probably not quite going to hit my goal because that kind of leaves me with like 11 books that I've got to get through in the month of December. And even though I read more this month than I thought I would, still, I don't think I'm going to get through 11 books in December. Now, of course, if I put my mind to it, I probably could. But ultimately, I don't think that that's actually going to happen, but that's okay. Sometimes we don't always hit our goals the way we would necessarily expect. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what did I read in the month of November. So as mentioned in the beginning, I actually got through more books than I expected to in the month of November. And that's a good thing. I always like reading a lot more than I maybe anticipated. Now, I did cheat a little bit because I originally planned to get through all of Edgar Allan Poe with a little bit of every month, but I actually finished up the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe in November and finished that up. There are only a few poems left, so I thought, what the heck, I'll just power through it, I'll get it done, and I finished it up in like an hour. So I decided I'm just going to go for that and get Edgar Allan Poe's collected works completed. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a top 10 Poe reads coming up here in December video on that. So definitely stay tuned for that. But I have to say I've got a newfound appreciation for Edgar Allan Poe. Fantastic. Loved everything I read. Well, maybe not 100% of everything I read, but in general, I really enjoyed reading through Edgar Allan Poe's collected works this year. Such an enjoyable read, newfound appreciation for his works. The comedy, the humor, the twists at the end, the dark, occult, and gallows humor infused within his stories is just fantastic, and I absolutely loved reading through Edgar Allan Poe's collected works this year. That was definitely a very, very enjoyable read. So I finished that up in the month of November. 5 stars, easily fantastic read. One of the other books that I read in the month of November was The Grand Biocentric Design by Robert Lanza, MD. Now, this guy is a medical doctor. He's definitely got that scientific background. Unfortunately, I found that this book fell short of what I would really think of as science. It really came across as pseudoscientific nonsense, using arguments that don't make sense. He almost started with his own conclusions and tried to work backward from there to try and work scientific knowledge to support his theory rather than taking that knowledge and trying to formulate a theory from it. So I really did not enjoy this book. I thought it was poorly presented, and I just thought he was trying to make an argument from something that doesn't exist in reality. And that's why I'm not doing a dedicated review on this one, because honestly it was a terrible book presented as science that really came across as pseudoscientific nonsense and just makes no sense. Not a good read at all. Did not enjoy it. Would not recommend it. And just terrible. Terrible. Really, honestly, I was quite disappointed in that. Some of the other books that I read in November would be Interesting Times by Terry Pratchett. I mean, if you haven't read Discworld, why haven't you read Discworld? This is a fantastic series and you really need to check it out. It's hilarious. Interesting Times, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do a dedicated review on this one, but I will say that Discworld is a fantastic series of books, and I highly recommend it. They're short, they're easy to read, they're fun, they're entertaining through and through. Check it out. If you haven't read Discworld, go read Discworld. I'm telling you, read it. It's good. It's funny. It's hilarious. So also throughout the month of November and every month really have been doing some rereads. This month I finished up book 3 of the Shadow Campaigns, my reread on that, The Price of Valor. So this book is part of a militaristic Napoleonic era fantasy called The Shadow Campaigns by Django Wexler. I've been rereading this series' first 3 books before I got on to books 4 and 5, which I haven't read yet. Or haven't completed reading yet, so I finished up my reread of The Price of Valor, and this is, if you like military fantasy, you're going to like this series. I'm quite confident of that, and I am thoroughly enjoying my reread of the Shadow Campaigns. I do enjoy it's got demons and power and religious crazies and stuff like that. It's a good, entertaining read, especially if you like that military fantasy type story. And of course, along with rereads, I have been rereading The Alloy of Law. So this is part of the Mistborn set of books, and overall, again, an enjoyable read. Brandon Sanderson, one of my favorite authors. Absolutely love Mistborn. I love everything Cosmere by Sanderson, and The Alloy of Law is definitely part of that. A Mistborn novel. This takes place 300 or 400 years after the events of the initial Mistborn trilogy and the start of the Mistborn Era 2 books, which I hope to make a video on Mistborn Era 1 and Mistborn Era 2 on each of those subset of books at some point. I'm not sure when, hopefully sometime in the new year I'll be able to get around to that, but overall, rereading Mistborn, love it, love Sanderson, love everything about this. It's a world in which powers are derived from the burning of metals, interesting magic system, great read all around. If you haven't read Mistborn, definitely I would recommend it. Absolutely. The Final Empire being the start of that series. I also picked up James S.A. Corey, Book 8 of The Expanse with Tiamat's Wrath. This is a fantastic book, fantastic series, and just a wonderful set of books that I am thoroughly enjoying. If you haven't checked out The Expanse by James S.A. Corey, I highly recommend you do so. Fantastic, especially if you love science fiction. Go read The Expanse. It's so good. Love every moment of it. Love this book. Love this series. Love everything about it. The TV show is really great as well. This is just a great... Check out my review on this. That should be on my science fiction playlist. I'll try to link the reviews and the playlists and the cards are in the description below for this video as well. So definitely worthwhile checking out. Just The Expanse. Fantastic read. Absolutely loved it. So that kind of leads us into what am I reading as of the day of filming this video, and I do expect to finish these up by the time this video posts. So I am continuing my reread of Brandon Sanderson's Shadows of Self. So this is the second book in the Wax and Wayne Mistborn Era 2 trilogy. I know there's a Wax and Wayne 4 that's supposed to be coming out at some point, from my understanding. Not sure of the release date. If you happen to know it, feel free to comment down below. But Shadows of Self is the second book in the Mistborn Era 2. Again, another book that I'm absolutely enjoying. My reread of, love it. It's really great going back and getting reacquainted with these characters that you grew to love when you first read this. It's been years since I read Mistborn, so I'm so happy to get back into my reread of Mistborn. Really enjoying that. Shadows of Self, I expect I'll probably finish this up either by the end of the month or not, or pretty quickly into December. I expect to finish that. And also, I am currently reading Guns of Empire by Django Wexler. So again, this is a book that I do expect I'll probably finish by the time this video posts, so I am counting it as part of my November reads. And, you know, at the end of the day, worst case scenario, I finish it early December, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish this in the month of November by the 30th, the day of this video posting. So this is the 4th book in the Shadow Campaigns, which will be, of course, immediately followed up by book 5, which we'll get to in a moment. But Guns of Empire by Django Wexler. Really enjoying this. Demons, magic, sorcery, crazy stuff going on. You know, people who are immortal, people who eat other demons. And if you read the book, you'll get what I mean. I mean, they're not literally eating demons, but you kind of get what you'll get what I mean if you read the book. Check it out. Check out the series, The Shadow Campaigns. Overall, it's just a really, really good read, and I'm certainly enjoying it. That is for sure. And of course, military fantasy. I enjoy military fantasy overall. Fantasy in general, I love fantasy. It's probably my most read type of book. If you take a look at my playlists there, the fantasy playlist is much bigger than the sci-fi, but overall, fantasy, militaristic fantasy, really am enjoying it. Alright, so with that all done there for my November reads, let's talk a little bit about what my to be read is for the month of December. Now, I do have planned a little bit of a shorter to be read for the month of December, mainly because I do have a lot of videos I plan on filming and editing in December. So I kind of want to keep room in my schedule for that. But let's talk a little bit about what I plan to read in December. So continuing on with Terry Pratchett, we are going to be talking about Masquerade. This is one of the Discworld books. And again, Discworld, if you haven't read Discworld, why haven't you read Discworld? It's hilarious. You need to read Discworld. This is absolutely hilarious. Fantastic series of books. I'm really enjoying every Discworld book. I have yet to read a bad Discworld book. Now, some are definitely better than others. And it'll be interesting to see how Masquerade goes. Now, with Terry Pratchett, of course, the book's called Masquerade, but let's face it, it's never what the title seems to suggest. Now, it says it's Masquerade, so you're thinking Masquerade Ball. Well, I get the feeling maybe it's not quite what we expect, because that's Terry Pratchett for you. He's hilarious. He's really amazing at poking fun at everything. Absolutely love it. And of course, I will be continuing on as well with my Mistborn rereads, Bands of Mourning. This will be the third book in the Wax and Wayne Mistborn era too, so I'm definitely going to be continuing with my reread of Mistborn. So you can bet I'll be checking on that and checking this one out and going through it again for the second time, because Mistborn, as always, just a fantastic read. Great series of books, something you need to read. If you haven't already gotten to Sanderson, I definitely recommend starting with Mistborn. The Final Empire is where you should start. That's the beginning of the Mistborn Era 1. The Bands of Mourning, fantastic read. I know I'm going to enjoy rereading it because, well, it's Sanderson and it's Mistborn. Why wouldn't I? Next up is a book series that I've been hearing so much about on BookTube. People seem to be in love with this series and absolutely loving every book in the series and just love it. And this is by Joe Abercrombie. I am finally getting into this, The Blade Itself. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this story. This is grimdark, and people are loving it all around across the board. Everyone seems to be loving Joe Abercrombie's works. So, The Blade Itself. I have read some Joe Abercrombie, his Shattered Sea series, but I haven't gotten to this one particularly. So I'm starting this up in the month of December. The Blade Itself. The Blade Itself. And I've heard so much good about this, so I really look forward to seeing how that goes with this series of books, because I know based on everything I've heard on BookTube, it's going to be a great series of books. I have no doubt about that. And of course, continuing on with that, with the Shadow campaigns as well, I will get to book 5 in the Shadow campaigns, The Infernal Battalion by Django Wexler, to wrap up the series. And then hopefully once I'm done reading the series, I'll be able to come back and do a video on the series as a whole. Definitely a series that I am thoroughly enjoying and really liking, and I hope to continue to enjoy it. Overall, I like the series as a whole. I mean, I don't like 100% of everything about it. There are some things that are just like, what? Really, you're putting that in there now? But we'll see. We'll see how my video review goes on the series as a whole, which I hope to get to sometime in the new year, hopefully. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear my thoughts on the Shadow campaigns as a whole. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you get that. And then, next up, this will be my nonfiction read for the month of December. Now, I was lucky enough to get a signed copy of this book. This is by one of my absolute all-time favorite science nonfiction writers, Brian Greene, Until the End of Time. This is one of Brian Greene's most recent books, and I was lucky enough to score a signed copy of this book by Mr. Brian Greene. I did not expect that when I went into our local bookstore, Bolin Books, but I saw it there. I wasn't even there to buy this book particularly that day, but there it was, a signed copy of Until the End of Time by Brian Greene. So of course I had to snatch it up. Why wouldn't I? So yeah, this is going to be good. Everything I've read by Brian Greene has been phenomenal. Love it. Love the way he communicates. Love the way he writes. I really don't see myself not liking this book. This is going to be a good read. 100% sure of that. And I really look forward to getting to Brian Greene's Until the End of Time. This being a signed first edition. Ooh, exciting. Anyway, definitely can't wait to check that out. Look forward to maybe doing a video on this one as well. Brian Greene's Until the End of Time. So that's what I've got planned as far as reads for the month of December. And of course, make sure you let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned, whether that's from my November reads or my December to be read. And with that in mind, also, I do expect a bit of a slowdown on video output in the middle of the month, simply because, you know, there's a lot of videos actually that I want to get filmed, and then of course there's Christmas week. I don't expect to put any videos out during Christmas week, but I will be working hard filming a bunch of videos for the last week of December leading into January. I've got a bunch planned to kind of wrap things up for the year, a couple of top 10 options, you know, top 10 favorite reads, top 10 anticipated reads, monthly wrap up for December, of course, January preview, 2022 preview, things like that. So I've got a bunch of videos planned that I want to get filmed and edited, so I'll probably slow down output as far as posting videos in the middle of the month, but I do expect at the end of the month we'll probably see just as many videos from me regardless of when they get posted. So that is what I'm expecting for the month of December in terms of how that's going to go, and then we'll see how my year wraps up in terms of my total achievements as far as total number of books read. And if, you know, if I find I have time, I'll probably add more books into my to be read pile. We'll kind of see how it goes. But yeah, there's a lot I want to get filmed and edited, which will certainly take up some time. So I'm trying to save room in my schedule to allow me to still get through some decent books, but at the same time have time to complete what I want to film and edit and get put out in December as far as the wrap up for the year and previews upcoming for 2022 in January. So definitely stay tuned for that. And as always, you know, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm always looking forward to getting these videos out and talking about these books because just love it. This is a passion of mine. Love it all. Happy to do it. Love talking about my books, and I look forward to telling you all about more books as I continue to read them. So as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye.